Hi, Joanne Hammond-Meiers here from Edmonton, Alberta with the Money Flow Formula. We have as guest speaker the amazing hypnotist and NLP practitioner, Steve G. Jones, and he's going to help us with our money flow and answer questions about how and why we would seek out hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming so that we could benefit in our financial and our giving lives and just generally be more abundant. So with that, I'm just going to give you a little bit of information about Steve. If you want to make a positive change in your life, Steve can make the difference. He did this with me, said Tom Mankiewicz, I think you pronounced that, right, of Superman, the Superman movie. How do you pronounce his name, Steve?
Mankiewicz.
Mankiewicz, yep. Yes, thank you. Okay, so
it's a tough one.
Yeah, so Steve is a clinical hypnosis hypnotherapist and NLP trainer and a life coach, and he is more than that. He has such an online presence, and many of the coaches and entrepreneurs and small businessmen can use his men and women can use their techniques for money flow from a lot of what Steve has done himself in his business. He's the founder of the American Alliance Hypnosis, American University of NLP, and the Global Sciences Foundation. Dr. Jones has his doctorate in education from George Southern University. He has created thousands of self-help recordings, programs, and certification courses to empower others. And I must say that I am really impressed, Steve, with how much generosity you have spread with your offerings online. And I'm really grateful to have you here today to interview you.
Oh, my pleasure, Joanne. Thanks for having me.
Great. So really, could you start us off with money flow? Why would someone be helped with hypnosis or hypnotic languaging such as NLP might help them with?
Do you mean why would someone use the services of a hypnotherapist or NLP practitioner?
Yes, why would they study it and why would they use the services? Yes, both.
There are all kinds of reasons. People want to lose weight, they want to stop smoking, they want to overcome fear of flying, lots of different reasons. In terms of money, they specifically, they want to make more money, usually, to put it succinctly. They want to increase their money flow. Sometimes we see that on the other end also. Sometimes people study it so that they can make more money by helping clients. Usually, we don't like to believe this. Usually people go into these healing modalities as practitioners in order to help people, more of an altruistic approach. They want to actually benefit the world and help others. And if you think about it, that's the only way you can really make money anyway, is if your heart is in it, if you're really dedicated to helping people, that's the way to make it all work.
Yes. So they go into it for many reasons, but two of the strongest are probably to get money flowing in their life and go past subconscious blocks maybe, or to study it for themselves so they can help other people in this area. That's great. So your volume is a little bit not too sure how the volume of the talk is going, so I'm hoping that people can hear this clearly. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you fine. If I speak up like this, does it help?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
So,
you got it.
Yeah. So when you think of helping people get, say, the languaging to get out of debt, because debt sounds so heavy and negative to many people, and kind of the way you might language things, even as people in conversational hypnosis talk to themselves and others, what would you have to say about that?
Well, I would say speak the language of the person who's already out of debt. I don't really think being out of debt is a great standard. That's kind of ground level. You want to then build on top of that. So speak the language of someone who's not only out of debt, but who is actually financially self-sufficient, successful, and looking forward even more of a future. So the way to do this is, it feels like you're lying to yourself. It feels like you're just making things up because they're not true at that moment, but that's fine. Your subconscious mind hears those things and gravitates toward them. So, for example, someone who is in debt can actually say, I have X amount of money in the bank, $10,000 or whatever would be a reasonably a good amount for them. By saying that over and over, the subconscious mind finds a way to make that real in their reality. So it's going to feel like a lie. It's going to feel like you're fooling yourself. In a sense, you are. However, it's fooling yourself into living into that reality, because your subconscious mind hears it over and over, sees the disconnect between what it's hearing and what it's seeing, and works on bridging that gap. And this works on a very practical level by a person taking advantage of opportunities that are presenting themselves in the environment, opportunities to make money.
Oh, that's so true. And if we feel it and we say it and we practice it and we live it, at first it does feel like we're making it up, but it's a practice thing, eh? How you let it into your life, and you believe these things, and you let them influence you from the positive side.
Absolutely, it gets easier and easier, and then you realize that the next level is going to require the same thing. You just rinse and repeat. I have $10,000 in the bank. Okay, they got out of debt, and they got plus $10,000 to that level. Now I have $50,000 in the bank. Now I have $100,000 in the bank. And you can do this with any goal. Just speaking that language of the future moves you toward that.
Great. So, it isn't only languaging, but hypnosis and NLP have been about the way we communicate to ourselves. And could you talk a little bit about that subconscious area versus a conscious area, and how people can understand maybe about their purpose, passion, and profit, and even their generosity and philanthropy, which is also part of this, how they can start to have a mindset that works for them?
Okay, well, first of all, an understanding of the subconscious mind versus the conscious mind would be very beneficial. So you can think about it like an iceberg, and most of the iceberg is beneath the water. You don't see it. The larger part of that mass is below the water. What you see on the top of the water would be similar to the conscious mind. And sometimes we think that that's all we are, is the conscious mind, not realizing that the greater part of us beneath the surface of the water, the subconscious mind, is actually where all of the action happens. That's the part that's subjected to the currents in the water. That's the part that's going to be directed by which way the water's flowing. And in this case, in our analogy we're creating, the water flowing would be all the influences from the past, our parents, authority figures, our thoughts about ourselves, other people's feedback about us. And we've assimilated all of that into this belief about ourselves, this directing our subconscious mind, which then influences our conscious actions. So if you want to make a change, it's important to do it at a subconscious level. And to speak to the idea that you said about passion and so forth, and using the law of attraction and giving and receiving, that gets us into more of somewhat of a metaphysical realm in which what we put out there we're going to get back. And you can see this on a practical level too. If you walk through your day smiling at everyone, they're going to smile back at you. If you frown at everyone, they're going to frown back at you. That's the way it works. And this works on a greater level too, because if we put out positive thoughts into the world that we live in, into our environments, into everywhere we go, we're going to get back positive things. We're going to see that over and over, and it works on a small scale, interacting one-on-one, and it acts on a larger scale, which affects our entire lives and can actually direct our financial future.
Mm-hmm. This is quite amazing when people aren't aware of all these things, and then they start to be aware of them. They have to get used to being wealth and health and happy and all those positive things if they haven't been used to it. Do you have any stories about how you have helped people change their life with abundance through your hypnosis and NLP that could be helpful to people that maybe, this is fairly still new, or they haven't made the milestones in all the areas that they want to?
Okay. Well, one of the stories that really stands out in my mind is someone who was a Hollywood producer and is pretty successful. This is when I had my office in Beverly Hills in the Roxbury Medical Building, 90210. I had an office there for about 4 years. I really enjoyed it, but I left that office because I found it to be a little stressful. Parking in Beverly Hills is awful. But during that time, I had a lot of Hollywood types who would come to me. And this producer came to me, and he had previously been a top-producing producer, producing financially for himself, his family, and producing wonderful movies for Hollywood. But he was in a slump. He had lost his mojo, as he put it, and he wanted me to help him regain it. So I worked with him through a series of sessions using both hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming, teaching him the practical value of some of the concepts I've shared today, thinking about the future, not focusing on where you are right now, but focusing on the future. Another technique that was very important that I taught him was taking, and this is from neurolinguistic programming, taking something from the past and using it in the present to create the future. And that is the idea of when he felt that he was on top of the world, when he felt that he was a top producing producer, when he felt that people valued him, people cared about him, people wanted to work with him. Having that mojo back, as he put it, was the essence of what brought him back into being a top producer, and now he's very successful again and very happy. But even if people weren't, on top of the world at one point in their own minds, they at least felt good at some point. They at least felt confident at some point. So that's what NLP can bring to the table, allowing you through the installation of an anchor, having an anchor you can fire off, allowing you to have access to that power in the past right now, and that's going to then create your future.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I've experienced this myself, and I will be giving testimony to what you're saying, because I think the example you gave is great, and if people can experience some of that anchoring and that towards wealth and myself doubling wealth and doubling of whatever it is you want to double through an anchor, it's an energetic shift that really does help bring it into the now, from the past, but into the now and to the future you want to build. And I think this is a great thing. If people can explore this more, this interview can only do so much for each one, but that I think is giving people an idea of the power of it. I know you have a gift for everybody. Before we go on to more questions, I wondered if you would talk about your gift, the program, Your Inner Millionaire, and there's a link. I have it here, but you could read it out if you have it. Do you have your link?
Okay. I don't know if I have the same link as you. What link do you have?
Okay, well, I have the www.stevegjones.com/mp3/program_inner, INNER _millionaire, MILLIONAIRE.mp3. Is that correct?
Okay.
Okay.
That is the direct way to go. Or you can just go to stevegjones.com.
Yeah.
If you just go to stevegjones.com, just my name, stevegjones.com, you'll find the link there also. I think that would be an easier way. So go there and check it out. That's a pre-recording that we got for everyone listening, and what that is just the idea is that everyone has within them the ability to be a millionaire, to be wealthy. We're seeing more millionaires than ever before these days. A lot of it is because of the ability that people have that they did in the past. In the past we had a few people who owned businesses and a lot of people who worked for those businesses. Now we see with the internet in particular, that's really opening up. And so we see a lot of ability for people to do that. Also, we see a lot of just all kinds of innovations. There's an innovation explosion going on. It's been going on for a while now, for at least 10 years. Just people coming up with all kinds of great ideas. Most of we see them in the online world. We don't see them in the sciences. We see them in medicine. We see them in physics. We see them in all kinds of wonderful worlds. And people are becoming wealthy. And the essence of all of that is people tapping into what's in them. What do I want to bring into the world? What's in me that I can share with the world? That when I do that, it's going to benefit people. And then, of course, you're rewarded financially. You don't do it for the money, but because you're helping so many people, you are rewarded. So this helps you tap into that, your inner genius, which can then lead to wealth, of course. So it's the recording that's going to help you activate your inner millionaire, as I call it, and it's available at my website, which is just stevegjones.com.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. And thank you for the gift. I'm sure people will benefit from going to your site and getting activated in this area. So,
my pleasure.
Yeah, okay, great. The idea of more millionaires, I had a dream that to be a billion-dollar philanthropist, and I thought at first when I woke up from this dream that that's way out there. That's beyond being a millionaire. But then I started to think, well, I reached every dream I had ever set, so why not? So it kind of energized me. It didn't seem like I was going to be crushed if I didn't reach it, but I just felt like maybe there was more to it, and it wasn't about me, but more about source and about other collective things, such as the internet and the people on the internet. And then I went to the Wealthy Visionary Conference with Marcia Reeder last year, and we raised $50,000 for the Unstoppable Foundation in a couple of hours. These things are just amazing new innovative ideas, and they help people in Africa, or my charity is in Bangladesh, and all these people are being helped that couldn't have been helped before. So I think what you're saying, yeah. So important.
Yeah, you got to think that thinking of helping people is great. Look at Facebook, look at even before that, MySpace. These are concepts that came about with the idea of how can we bring some kind of value to people's lives. And this, in social media's case, it was the idea of connecting people. We look at applications like WhatsApp. That's a great way to make to talk to people across the world. You can send videos and messages and pictures to people across the world at no charge. These ideas came about for great reasons. How can I help people do things? And so, like you were thinking, how can I help people? So when you think that way, you naturally create interest in it. People aren't thinking, oh, goodness, that's a selfish idea. No, they're realizing that it's a wonderful, awesome idea that helps a lot of people. So you get people to rally behind you. So that's really the essence of how you get things going, how you create a life for yourself, how you get money flowing eventually toward you. But the idea is not to make money, the idea is to help people.
Yeah. So this is an important point that you're saying. It is about profit in business. We can't be in business without profit, and I think everybody has abundance that they can have. But it also helps to give. And how do you think the giving itself and connecting with others is going to change in the future? Because you're talking about us building our future through our new ways of thinking, through hypnosis, through NLP, through anchoring and things like that. Could you just say a few things about how you view the world as changing and what we can do?
Sure. Well, we see a lot more wealthy people now, and I've heard some stories recently that really indicate to me how it's probably going to go in the future. I heard about a billionaire in Russia who was helping save dogs before the Olympics. I heard yesterday about a billionaire in the United States, I believe it was, who is helping by donating money to, I believe it was 6 different hospitals, large amounts of money. So when people start getting these large excess amounts of money, they start to do things like Bill Gates and his wife, giving back, because they realize, okay, I've got all my basic needs met and then some. I've got money for myself and my family for years to come. What can I do with the rest? There's really no use just having money sit around. So I can give it back. I can enhance people's lives. I can help them out. So I think the nature of giving is going to change in that way. We're going to see more people with more money helping more people.
Yes, great. I think that you're right, and I think that as more people find out ways that they actually can do that, we'll all get more creative and perhaps help the world be countering some of the things that have been creating so many difficulties. And when we start those changes together, then that's going to allow us to not only appreciate money in a different way. It's not about the love of money, it's what the money can do for the distribution in the right areas. And we all have to begin to be thinking in ways that are different. And this is where NLP and hypnosis can come in, because if our brains are able to receive things in new ways, and we're evolving all the time, then how can hypnosis help us to be in the values that really help us all and bring us more wealth?
Well, by opening your abundance mindset, and that's really a main part of what the recording that we mentioned earlier is available at stevegjones.com, the free recording. That's really what it's all about. It's opening this abundance mindset. So we tap into abundance by realizing that when we develop ourselves, whatever's unique about ourselves, when we embrace that and cultivate it and develop it, it really benefits other people. They see us and they say, "Wow, there's such a change in that person. What is it? I want to be like that. I want to have some of that." And so they start to think, "Well, what is it that's about me that's unique?" So they start developing that. And so that's the nature of abundance. When one person benefits, everyone benefits, because they start to generate more money, they're able to help more people, plus they serve as an inspiration for other people. So hypnosis helps by just allowing you to tap into that cycle, which is just you developing yourself and sharing that gift with the world.
Mm-hmm. I can't thank you enough for that part, because I do think that many people, they may have tried hypnosis or even heard of or done a little bit of NLP, but I really encourage people to do more of that, because I think that they will accelerate their ability to find their uniqueness and bring that into the connective gift-giving and also new creative ideas. I think those are core to us moving forward.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what the world depends on. We need these new, wonderful, amazing ideas. People take a shower and they get a great idea. They're driving, they get a great idea. They're waking up, they get a great idea. They write it down, they act on it, they build it into something huge and amazing. And also people who want to take chances. I mean, not everything you build is going to be huge and amazing. Sometimes people strike out. We go back to Edison, the story of the light bulb, all his attempts. So not every, hit is going to be, a $1 billion hit that's going to change the world. But if we continue believing in ourselves and continue moving forward and continue generating these ideas and putting them out there, eventually we've got a lot of people with a lot of great ideas, and we get just an abundant, amazing world.
Sorry, I coughed a little bit that one. Yes, it is an abundant, amazing world. Yeah. Okay. And I think that through some areas of hypnosis, what is the rationale behind the way that people need to relax into or change more of the receptivity that happens to new ideas in hypnosis? Perhaps people have experienced or been exposed to more the trickster kind of hypnosis, but more hypnotherapy is what I'm familiar with myself. I'm wondering how the rational mind can, first of all, come to the point where we decide that we can benefit from hypnosis, but then also give more permission to bypass it in a way, to get past the gatekeeper and go into the subconscious. Can you say more about that?
I don't know. Okay. I'm not so sure that that's something necessarily a burden put necessarily on the clients. The people have hypnotic aptitude, and that's measurable by the scale that Harvard and Stanford developed, for one, which measures the suggestibility of people. After finishing my doctorate in education, revised that scale a little bit to get into a quiz to make it a little simpler. But that's the attitude that the client walks in with. As far as the client releasing that for the hypnotherapist or NLP practitioner or any other therapist to be able to get in a little more easily, I think just showing up is probably good enough. I don't like to put a lot of burden on the clients. I believe that the more they quote unquote try, the more they can potentially work against it. But I would say if you're interested in availing yourself of the services of a hypnotherapist or any other therapist, your job is to show up with an open mind. That doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to affect your hypnotic aptitude per se, but just showing up and following directions, I think, would be the best thing that someone can do. Just like if you're going to have surgery or anything else, you show up when they tell you, and you prep as they tell you, and if they give you any instructions for afterwards, you follow those too.
Mm-hmm. Great. I think that's really helpful, because if we want to, we can put our trust in someone that's going to lead us in the way that our subconscious really can be shifted or selective, perhaps is a better way to say that. So,
I like it.
Yeah. So, Steve, you've been practicing for a long time as a business person, and I really want to tap into some of that for our listeners, because many people might want to emulate you because, you know how to do an online business amazingly well. And I'm wondering if you could talk about ways that your business has money flow and how your mindset has helped you with that.
Sure. And I wrote a book on this, by the way, that's available on Amazon called The Holistic Millionaire, holistic with an H. That's designed to help people learn the ins and outs of online marketing. In my organization, we really divide that up, though. I work in product development, so we compartmentalize everything. We have marketing and we have development. So I work in development. I'm working on new products that enhance people's lives, always thinking of new ideas. My team gives me ideas. I analyze them. And then marketing determines which of those ideas people are actually interested in. And so that becomes a financial decision. It's driven by interest. People don't buy things they're not interested in. So when we have a financial decision to create or not create a product, it's also driven by interest. What are people willing to pay for? What are people willing to invest in? So my advice to anyone who's curious about online marketing is to find something about you, rather than looking at me and what I'm doing. Find what you know about you, whatever it is that's unique and different about you. That's called your passion. You find your passion, and that's what you want to put out there to the world. If you attempt to, emulate someone else, dress like them, act like them, do what they do, I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of people who are really good at internet marketing who see me, for example, then they decide, well, I'm going to go into hypnotherapy. I'm a hypnotherapist now. I'm going to market myself as that. That's something that looks like a financial move that they just did because they want to make, money now doing something that they see that's selling. It doesn't sound to me like a passion that's from their heart. So if your passion is making money, then, realize that making money in and of itself is not necessarily a passion. So how do you want to make money? Do you want to make money by teaching people how to make money? Now, that's a passion. You got to know what it is that you have that helps other people, not just helps you. Making money is not a passion. It's not a legitimate passion. So maybe you want to help people by making money in a number of different ways. And So maybe, you want to make money, you see Steve G. Jones as a hypnotherapist, you think, okay, I'll be like Steve, but you realize, wait a minute, the reason I thought about that is because my real passion is to make money. Maybe I can turn that into something more legitimate, which is teaching people how to make money in hypnotherapy. There we go. Now we're dialed in. So trying on the clothes of someone else and trying to act like someone else and trying to do what someone else does just because you see it making money, that's not going to be sustainable long term. Your heart is not going to be in it. So my advice to anyone wanting to make money online is find out what it is that's unique about you that you can share with the world and put that out there, and we will buy it. Because if your heart's in it, you're going to draw your audience. And you only need a small percentage of the population. If you think about 1% of the population of the entire world, that's a lot of people. You get 1%, and you've got something that's going to sustain you financially.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree that we can learn from others, but we don't want to be clones. That authenticity, or really the way that we find our uniqueness, could be helped through hypnosis and NLP, but it's business modeling only goes so far. Systems are interesting to model, but if you are leaning your ladder against the wrong wall, it's not going to work for you.
Oh, I love that. I love that metaphor. Yeah, absolutely. The wall is going to crumble if it's not the right wall for you. And we see that. I mean, we see that in all kinds of things. We see people becoming doctors who really don't want to be doctors, but their parents want them to be. We see people becoming attorneys, not wanting to do that. Dentists. We see all kinds of people doing all kinds of things that aren't related to their passion. We see, chiropractic, people who might go into medicine, but they hear, chiropractic school is easier and cheaper, and you can make more money at it. I'm not putting down chiropractors. I'm just saying that sometimes we see that in that world. We see it across all professions. People going into things just for money. We see medical doctors doing it too. It's just not sustainable if it's not your passion. So don't look at anyone else. Don't look at what anyone else is doing. Sit down with yourself in a quiet room. Pull out of your heart what it is that you want to do that's going to help the world, and that's what you need to do.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I would add to that is after you've done that, you might want to work with a hypnotist or someone who brings that even further for you towards your purpose. If you're passionate about it, then how do you bring that into your actual actions that you're going to do?
Oh, absolutely. And I see that all the time. I see people really passionate and doing their passion online and trying to present it, and then it falls flat because they don't understand marketing. Marketing is a unique creature.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I lost Steve for a second. Steve, are you still there? Yes, marketing is a unique creature, and I think I just lost Steve. Hopefully he'll call back in, and hopefully he'll call back in and we can continue. But Steve was talking about your purpose and getting your passions to go forward more with your purpose. And I think that hypnotherapy can really add a lot to that. And I'm hoping that Steve will come back, but if not, we've really had an amazing amount of information from Steve already, and I would just like to thank Steve, and I think I'll get offline and thank him if he doesn't appear right away. One of the things I found with hypnotherapy and with neuro-linguistic programming is that they've helped me in my life to get clearer about the way that I speak, the metaphors I use, how I anchor things towards what I choose to focus on, and how I have been able to use my kinesthetic, which is movement, as well as other kinds of forms of sensory modalities like visual and auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory. So these are areas in our senses that NLP tends to help us use more. So I really thank you, everybody, for tuning in today, and I'm going to stop there. We've had a great interview with Steve G. Jones, and I wish you all the best, and see you soon. Bye.